Hi, friends. It's Debra here talking about Chris Williams, who is one of my 6 guests next Tuesday and Wednesday at the Women Bustin Barrier Summit. Yeah, from noon to 2 Eastern Standard, from 9 a.m. to 11 Pacific time, and from 5 to 7 London time. We welcome 6 individual female entrepreneurs that have busted through so many barriers. And Chris Williams is no exception. She's an accomplished sales expert. I mean, how many people don't do so well with sales or think we don't do so well? And almost all of us can use some extra input and juice about making sales fun. Chris is all about having fun. And she started as a teenager in sales in her family's wildly successful business. Now, I was in a farming business and we sold sweet corn. So I get it. You work hard, right? And there's no allergy to work in Chris Williams. I can assure you of that. She got her marketing degree from the University of Oregon. And then she went to Xerox for 13 years, honed a lot of skills there and transferred those magnificent sales skills to entrepreneurship. So she's going to be able to bring both the corporate perspective as well as the self-employed perspective, the running mid-sized businesses in her case. And this is going to really fuel our propensity to bust through any barriers that we may have, from going from small business to mid-business, from going from mid-business to large business, whatever. We're going to have Q&A at the end, so queue up your questions for Chris. She's the co-founder with Martha Hanlon of both Wide Awake Business and Lead Her Up. Yeah, they've trained over 6,100 successful entrepreneurs to make them yet even more successful in the last 14 years. She talks about IQ, which is an intelligent quotient, but investment quotients. Well, of course, that my ears perked up right here. She has created with Martha $731 million of new business for her clients. I mean, I'm sure she gave them tips to retain their existing business as well. Now, they wrote a book together called Rise Up Leader. And this book is nothing short of riveting. And I often say, like, if my jacket color didn't catapult you to wide awake, right? Those numbers of how they have added $731 million of new business that will. This is a page turner. I'm halfway through it. I'll be through it by this weekend. And you can also go to the wideawakebusiness.com blog, which is chock full of practical, easy to follow examples as to how to turn your business into one that is far more profitable and enjoyable. Let's not forget that. Chris and I share a penchant for analogies. As I'm reading through the blogs, she's talking about soup, birds, chocolate chip cookies, Disney's incredible movies, painters, whack-a-mole, dates, Hamilton. I mean, it's incredible. And she weaves these into wonderful leadership strategies that are completely poignant and apropos, especially for these times for women. She talks about value-added concepts. She writes about warning contents under pressure. Well, who of us haven't been under pressure? And how will we react and respond to that pressure, especially as we're busting through barriers? We might feel all alone, and we're not. She's there in the wings with her partner. The questions are the answer. Wow, I love that. She's talking about the power of a $5 ship rope and how someone can turn that into a $79 product. And let's ask her about Ask Me to Dance. That is a fascinating concept. So she's both about business, profit, and busting through barrier strategies. And when she talks about most people's sources of conflict as entrepreneurs is we don't have a plan, or we don't have an adequate plan, or an accurate or a viable plan. You know, and I've fallen into this, these entrepreneurs, right? Like shiny red truck, right? We latch onto an idea, we drop straight into action, and we implement the idea, and then it grows more successful. And we keep implementing the idea, maybe working ourselves like to a small frazzle, without enjoying the rewards of entrepreneurship. And so she is going to speak with us about how leaders encounter resistance, because she says successful leaders have and know what to do to counteract and bust through resistance. She's adamant about the importance of persistence, and she has persisted. I quote, "Persistence that comes from willpower is the conduit between what you hope to achieve and what you actually accomplish. And she highlights and honors the late John Lewis, whose mantra was, and I quote, "Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get into good trouble, necessary trouble." Well, if we aren't in times now that require us women to rise up and get into good and necessary trouble and bust through barriers that otherwise deprive us of our civil rights and our choice rights and every other self-sustaining and uplifting rights, I don't know when we would be. I don't even want to face anything more than we're facing right now. But Chris is going to give us tips and tools for getting into good trouble, because that's the gateway to change, both individually and corporately, right? We are talking about our individual lives, our individual businesses, and the entire landscape, if you will, not just of our country, our city, our state, of the world and the women within it. Chris is going to share how she's busted through barriers. You do not get to this kind of success without having gone through and busted through a ton of barriers. So join me next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 12th and the 13th, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific, and 5 to 7 p.m. London time. Join us, won't you?